Okay, hello everyone. My name is Erica, Coach Honey Love. I'm so excited to be here with you today. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Love Day to you. I hope that you are doing well. So, whether if you are a single person, maybe you are taking this time to pamper yourself, maybe you are taking this time to love up on yourself or whatever the case may be. And then if you are a married couple, maybe this is date night for you, or maybe you have already went out for your date night, or maybe this is just a time where you're going to be at home chilling and you're just going to enjoy each other's company. While I'm on here, I want to know, what does love mean to you? I know what it means to me. I know what it means in my husband and I's marriage, but I want to know, like, what does love mean to you? And I want this to be an engaging live. I don't want to do all of the talking. So if you want to comment, please do. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. And I just want to share with you when I was a single woman and I was dating. Love to me at that specific time was a man being able to give me the time and the attention that I had wanted, or even saying that he loved me. And it was just basically with the words, right? So if you are a single woman or if you're a single man, maybe love looks a little different when you were younger versus to who you are today, right? And so I just want to share with you, what I've been through. And when it comes to that, it was just like, if a man said that he loved me, I believed him. And you have to get those life experiences in order for you to know what love is. And so I'm really glad that I was able to get through that stage of learning what love truly is. It's just not the words that a man says to you. It's just not, him just showing up, but it's about him being consistent, him being able to share those words, and him being able to have those actionable steps. And I wanted to know, like, what does love mean to you? Because when you are dating, you don't want to meet the representative. You want to meet someone that is genuine. You want to meet someone that has your best interest. You want to meet someone that, doesn't want to treat you wrong, but wants to think well of you and actually love you. So I'm going to go ahead and give you what is my definition of love. So love is God. Love is having a friendship with someone and being able to have those conversations, right? Because one of the common threads that I hear from a single person to a married couple is that that person just gets me, right? And so when you feel like someone gets you, you know that they are listening to you, you know that they are, you know, have the same interest as you know that you guys can have engaging conversations, and you could just talk for days, right? And so when it comes to building that friendship, it's about, being able to, have that bond, being able to be there for that person. And when you know that someone is there for you, and when you feel like that they love you and that they have your best interest, it's just like nothing else. And when it comes to a relationship and being married, I think that having a friendship is the foundation, okay? Because if you don't have a friendship, if y'all can't talk it out, whether if it's the good times or the bad times. Listen, it can definitely be an uphill climb. So when you are dating, I hope that you are able to date someone where you can actually build a friendship with that person, where that person listens to you, where you can talk about things and you have that emotional connection. And sometimes it's the words that you don't necessarily even need to say, right? Because you could just have a look on your face and they know exactly what you need. They know exactly what they can do for you in order for you to feel better. So when it comes to dating, like, have those conversations. Be willing to ask those questions. Be willing to allow time to develop a good friendship and just to see where things go. Um, my other thing when it comes to love is, when someone loves you is when you can count on them, right? So whether if it's the good times or the bad times, it's just like when something happens, you feel like you want someone to be there that you can actually count on. And when you can have somebody be there for you and you can actually count on them, it is like no other, because many times people feel like they are by themselves. Many times people feel like they can't count on nobody. But when you have a man in your life where you know that you can count on him, he's just a phone call away, he's just a text away, or you just share whatever it is that you need to share with him, and he's looking for opportunities and ways in order to make your life better. And so, love is when you can actually count on the person that you are seeing. Love is when you can actually count on your spouse in your marriage. And it is such a beautiful thing because, again, so many of us feel like we are alone. So many of us feel like, no one's there for us. But when you have that special someone, when you have a love where you know that you can count on that person, listen, okay? It is just so, so priceless, right? Also, love is when it's unconditional, right? Like, when you have a man in your life where, he tells you, I'm not going anywhere, right? Like, that brings a reassurance. That helps you to feel like you are safe with him. So if you are dating right now and, you're getting to know him, or maybe you haven't met him yet, I want to encourage you to ask him questions like, what does love mean to you? Have you ever been in love before? Give me an example of how love was demonstrated to you, right? So when you ask him these types of questions, is definitely going to open up the conversations. Not only that, you will be able to see if he would be able to love you that you desire to be loved. So when you have someone in your life that will love you unconditionally, they will love your flaws, they will love your strengths, your weaknesses, because they want to be there for you and you want to be there for them. Maybe you had been in a previous relationship where it was conditional, where you just felt like he or she just loved you just because of what you could do for them, right? But that relationship or that marriage is done for. But now you're at a point in your life where you want to experience unconditional love. I believe that one of the only ways that you can truly experience unconditional love is with the love of God. So if he has the love of God in him, or if she has the love of God in her, that he or she would be able to love you unconditionally. It's not about what you can do for them. It's about you just being able to be who you are, right? Not only that, love is not a feeling. Love is actions. So if a man tells you that he loves you, like he has the receipts to back those things up. He has the actions to back those things up. And he's just not just trying to pump you up. He's just not trying to tell you what it is that you want to hear. Okay? But he actually is loving you with actions. He's telling you that he loves you with his words, but he is going to love you with his actions. So, you know, if you are married, you know that when you say your vows, for better or for worse, that's the part where you know you have to put in the work. And it's just not about how you feel. It's just not about, you know, what it is that you're thinking. It's about being able to be consistent, to have those actions, and to show up every day and to be intentional and to think about your spouse as to how you can love them and how they can love you. So, when it comes to being a single person, I want to encourage you to not fall in love with the person's words, but make sure they have the proof in the pudding with their actions. And if you are a man of prayer, if you are a woman of prayer, I'm going to encourage you to ask God to show you that person's character. I'm going to ask you to ask God to see if they will be able to love you the way that you need to be loved, okay? Because, listen, when I was a single woman and I wrote down the list of everything that I wanted in a husband, right? There were some things that God saw that I did not see in my husband, right? And so the qualities that I wanted, he's that and more. When God sent him into my life, listen, when God sent him into my life, like he is more than I would have ever dreamed of. So when you pray and you ask God, can this man love me? Or if you're a man, can this woman love me the way that I need to be loved? Like God is going to know those things and more. So don't fall in love with the person's words. Like ask them about themselves and see how they respond and see how they show up on an everyday basis, okay? And then, you know, here's the other thing, that love never fails and love never gives up, right? You may have experience where people have given up on you. You may have experience where someone has said that they have fell out of love with you. But when it's real love, when it's true love, that person is going to be there. Even when they are upset at you, especially if you are married, when spouses are upset with each other, yeah, you get upset with each other, but you still love each other where you are going to show up and you are going to be there for each other because you have each other's back because you two are a team, right? So when it comes to love and being a single person, like love never fails. And this is the reason why you can even ask the person that you are dating for you to ask them, like, tell me how did you know when you were in love with the last person you were with? This is going to open up the conversation and you are going to be able to learn more about that person's character, right? Because, you know, when it comes to looking at how somebody represents themselves, how somebody looks, how somebody has a car, has a house, has money, has a career, they may look good all on resume, okay? They may have all their T's crossed and all of their I's dotted. But when it comes to knowing what love means to that person, Like, you got to be willing to have those conversations. And so, here's the other part: people give and receive love differently, right? And so, when I have helped married couples in their marriage, right? And I ask, do you feel like your spouse loves you the way that you want to be loved? Sometimes the answer is, I think that it could be better, right? Because they're not coming against each other, because they're working on their marriage. And so when it comes to, being single, you got to think, like, the way that I need to receive love, can that person love me the way that I receive love? And can I give the love the way that that other person receives love? This is why it's so important to know if you are compatible with each other. So when it comes to a married couple, prime example, let's say that that person love language is physical touch, but the husband is buying the wife gift after gift after gift after gift, but her love language is physical touch. Well, in his mind, he's thinking, oh, I'm doing a great job. I'm buying her gifts. I'm doing everything that she wants, right? In his mind, because that's the way that he wants to give love. But that's not necessarily the way that she receives love, right? So when it comes to her, it's just like, yeah, the gifts are fine, but I need you to touch me. I need you to hold me. I need you to hug me. I need to know that you are there. I need you, when we sitting on the couch, I need you to touch on my thigh. Uh-huh. That's what I need from you, okay? And so, when we have these conversations in the marriage coaching sessions, I'm just going to say this, is that you got to make sure that you love the person the way that they receive love. And when it comes to that, you're being selfless in the sense of, I love you so much that I'm going to give you the love that you want and that you need, the way that you receive love. This is why it's so important to have these conversations, right? So you can ask, the person that you are dating, have you ever taken the love language assessment? What is your love language, right? Like, how is it that you receive love, right? So they may say that, oh, I like words of affirmation. I like quality time. I like physical touch. I like acts of service. I like receiving gifts, right? So when you ask that question, you can ask yourself, like, okay, so he said that he likes words of affirmation. Am I built? Can I encourage him? Can I flirt with him the way that he wants to be flirted with? If you're not an expressive woman and he says to you, I like to receive words of affirmation. If you're not an expressive woman, well, I'm not saying that you won't be compatible, but it may take you a little bit more work, right? So, this is the reason why I always encourage single people and married couples. If you're single, take the love language every year. If you're married, take the love language assessment every 6 months. And just be sure that when you are talking about love, right? When you are talking about love, ask them again, have you ever taken a love language assessment? What are your thoughts about that? Right? And just ask them, give me an example. What is words of affirmation to you? Right? Because your definition may be different than his definition, right? And so this is the reason why it's just so important. It's so important to have these conversations and not go with the flow. Listen, going with the flow is the worst idea ever. If you go with the flow, when you get later on down the line, listen, when you get later down the line, you can think one thing, but it's actually something else. Or if you didn't have certain conversations and something comes up that it's a problem for you, but since you didn't talk about it before, it's an even bigger problem later on. So going with the flow is really not a good idea. This is the reason why you should have those conversations. What does love mean to you? Have you ever been in love before? What are your dating intentions for all my single folks? Now, when it comes to being married, you got to keep things spicy, okay? You got to keep the fire going. You got to keep things fresh. You got to keep things new, all right? And so being married, you got to ask each other, so how you think our marriage is going? Like, is there anything that I could do for you in order for you to feel more loved? Right? Is there anything that you want to talk about that you may didn't think that it was a good time to talk about that? Like, the more you are willing to have those hard conversations, the more it's going to help your love connection. It's going to help the emotional intimacy that you have always wanted. If you're always sweeping things under the rug, if you're just saying, you know what, I ain't got time for that. I don't feel like talking about that. Listen, honey, when it comes to sweeping things under the rug, it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until you reach the point to where you like, I can't take this no more. So, when it comes to love, again, you have to have these conversations. Don't just try to wing it. Don't just try to wing it. So I want to ask you in the comment section, what does love mean to you? Right? You've heard me talk about this. So put in the comment section, what does love mean to you? This is Valentine's Day. This is Love Day, right? So I don't want any of the singles to feel sad, whether if you have a Valentine or not. Be your own Valentine. Love on yourself, right? Go out, do something for yourself, pamper yourself. And I always encourage single ladies in the Honey Love Dating Academy is that you have to love yourself before a man can love you. Right? Like when you get with the man, he should be the icing to your cake, okay? Like you have to know what you love about yourself. And you have to know how is it that a man can help make your life better and how you can build a life together and how you can build a legacy together, right? So, what does love mean to you? Let's talk about love. Like, love is beautiful, love is kind. Like, love is beautiful. Listen, okay? So, I've shared with you is that, when it comes to love, have a friendship. It starts off with a conversation. It starts off with friendship. It starts off with being able to know that you can count on that person, that that person is going to be there for you, that you are going to be there for them, that love is unconditional. Love is when, it's selfless. It's not selfish, it's selfless. Like when it comes to marriage, listen, when it comes to marriage, like all my single people, if you want to get married, I want you to know this. When it comes to marriage, it's about serving each other in love. It's about doing things that you don't want to do, but you do it because you love that person, right? So I'm gonna give you this story right here. When my husband and I, when we first met and we talked about Valentine's Day, right? And I was just sharing with him like, hey, like I like Valentine's Day. But my husband, he wasn't on board. He was just like, yeah, I don't celebrate Valentine's Day. And so we had a conversation about it and it wasn't as important to him as it was to me. And so, we were able to have that conversation. And I was just like, okay, but it means something to me. It doesn't mean anything to you. So we, at that specific time, we agreed to disagree. Watch this. And so the next day, he came up to me. I can't remember whether if it was a conversation or an in-person conversation. But he said to me, he said, even though I don't like Valentine's Day, that I want to celebrate Valentine's Day because you want to. That right there meant the world to me, and I tell you why. It meant the world to me was that even though it didn't mean anything to him, he was willing to sacrifice how he felt about it and was willing to celebrate it with me and do what it is that I wanted to do, right? And so this was one of the ways that I knew he was marriage material. When a man can sacrifice how he feels about something and is willing to do things because he loves you and he wants to support you, listen, it made me feel loved. It made me know that he was marriage material. Not only that, it wasn't about what he was giving to me. It also made me think about what I could give to him too. Come on now. It's that love isn't about, oh, give me, give me, give me, give me, give me. No, ma'am. No, sir. When it comes to love, like it's about giving and receiving. If my husband loves me in the way that I receive love, it is my duty as a wife to love him the way that he receives love. So when it comes to my husband, his love language is he likes to eat. I like to cook. Okay? So whether if it's a home cooked meal or on a weekend, if I know one of his favorite restaurants is a certain cafe, guess what? If I don't feel like cooking, I'm a buy him, a meal, right? Or if I feel like cooking, I'm gonna make him that meal. And so you could say, well, Erica, I don't feel like cooking. Okay, that's fine. But if your husband or if your future husband is loving you the way that you receive love, I just think that you should be able to show the reciprocity and to love him the way that he receives love. Love is giving and receiving, right? It's just not about me, 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 me. No, like you got it's give and take, right? It's unconditional. It's being there. It's consistent. It's actions, not just, oh, I love you, but the then you don't feel the love. That's not love. You have to be able to feel the love. You have to be effective loving that person and that person loving you. You have to be effective. Because if you don't and you love that person or that person loves you, what their idea of love is, then the next thing you know, you be like, okay, you say you love me, but I don't feel the love. And so this is the reason why it's just so important to have those conversations. Let's wake that up. Like I mean, it's just not about going out to the restaurants and taking these trips and looking good on social media. No ma'am, no sir. But it's about loving that person the way that they receive love. It's about having these conversations. So let me see the comments. Let's go to the comments. Choi says loyalty. Yes, loyalty is definitely a big thing, right? When it comes to loyalty, like being there for that person, being loyal in the sense of showing up, not only showing up, but if you're married, being faithful to each other, right? Like making sure that your eyes is only on them, that they are the only one that can affirm you the way that a spouse is supposed to affirm you, and there is emotional intimacy only between the two of you and nobody else can get in between that, right? Let's see some other comments. So what does love mean to you? Like, let's talk about love. Like, I just think that love is a beautiful conversation. Also, too, when it comes to love, love evolves because when you grow as a person, you may not be the same person that you were yesterday today, right? And so this is the reason why I'm encouraging you to have those love conversations, whether if you're a single person or you're a married couple, because you may not be the same person that you were yesterday, right? So if you take that love assessment, maybe last season your love language was words of affirmation, but then in this season your love language is actually receiving gifts. So this is the reason why it's important to have those conversations, right? So let's see some other comments, y'all. Let's talk about love. It's love day. It's a good day. Every day is a good day, right? But you know, when you grow and you learn more about yourself, and you want to receive love, you want to feel good, you want to feel good about your relationship, you want to feel good about your marriage, you want to feel good about the person that you are seeing. Like, if you're growing, like, you got to tell them, like, hey, like, I've been going through this lately, and this is what I want, this is what I need from you, right? Okay. Pam says trust and communication. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Like, when it comes to trust, like, you need to know if you can trust that person to do what they say they are going to do, right? And you need to trust that they have your best interests. And that takes time, y'all. It takes time. This is, we live in a popcorn microwave type of society. But when it comes to you knowing if somebody loves you, the only way that you are going to know if that person loves you is allowing time to take its course, is praying to God, asking Him, can this person love me the way that I need to be loved? So when you are building trust, it's that consistency. It's about knowing that when you say something to that person, that it's not gonna go nowhere, right? That when situations come up and you're going through a hard time in life, that you can trust that that person is going to be there, that they are going to do what they say they are going to do. When it comes to trust, that you know that they're not going to cross certain boundaries, because they know if they do certain things that they don't want to hurt your feelings, right? And so when they don't do certain things, when they don't say certain things, that you know that you can trust that person, right? Because they're not going to cross certain boundaries, because they have your best interest. But all of these things actually take time. So don't rush, singles, don't rush into the dating process, right? So if you are dating someone, and if trust is a major thing for you, if trust is a major thing for you, I'm going to suggest this to you. Ask them, what does trust mean to you? How do you know that you can trust somebody? How do you know that? Like, this is going to open up the conversations, and you're going to be able to see. You're going to be able to see, like, can you see yourself being able to trust that person based on their responses? And ladies, let me tell you, do not answer the question for him. No, ma'am. Let him answer the question for himself. He grown. You grown too. Okay? You can't help him out with the answer. No, ma'am. Y'all grown, okay? Like, you need to know that he can answer questions in full sentences. You need to know that he can answer questions with some examples. You need to know that he can answer questions with life experiences, okay? And for men and women, you know when somebody lying to you, right? You've had enough headaches, you've had enough heartaches, you had enough headaches, you've had enough relationship lessons in order for you to know when somebody's lying to you, right? So if there are red flags, or if there are alarms going off within you and you know he's lying, just know he's lying, okay? So if you know that you can trust somebody that's honest. You can trust someone that is vulnerable. You can trust someone that is transparent. You can trust someone where they have receipts. Not only do they have receipts, but they have the actionable steps, and you can feel the love, y'all. You can feel the love on top of his actionable steps, right? And then when it comes to the communication, yeah, like, okay, look, let me tell you like this. When it comes, ladies, when it comes to a man and him communicating how he feels, I don't care if he is short for words, right? Like, he needs to effectively communicate the things that he wants, the things that he desires, his intentions, where he wants to go, the purpose of him dating. Like, he needs to be able to communicate those things to you. But you just being able to look at him and gaze him in his eyes, and to look at, his dating resume or his career and the things he's been able to do with his life, and you become so infatuated by the way he looks at you, that is not him communicating to you. He needs to communicate to you by having a dialogue, by having a conversation with you. Okay? So when it comes to communication, when it comes to problems, when it comes to different challenges, when he does or he says something that you don't like, and you say, you know what, the other day when you said this, or the other day when, not you, let's use I statements, when I heard you say, okay, when I heard you say, it made me feel like this. I want to know, what did you mean by that? He needs to be able to explain those things. And fellas, vice versa for the woman that you're seeing, right? Because when it comes to marriage, listen, y'all, when it comes to marriage, it is about an imperfect man and an imperfect woman coming together as husband and wife. If you have a God-centered marriage, when you have a God-centered marriage, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Okay? So, all I'm saying is this: you got to have conversations. You cannot keep stuffing things. You cannot keep stuffing things. You can't make excuses for him. You can't justify things and just say, oh, it'll all work out on its own. Okay. When are you going to have that conversation? Sweetheart, when are you going to have that conversation? Because if you're bothered, if you're disappointed, if you're unsure about certain things, if certain things aren't sitting well with you, if certain things aren't sitting well with you, and you have not had that conversation, or if you say to him, you know, I would love for us to have a conversation, and if he avoids it, bring it up again. You cannot keep stuffing yourself. You cannot say, oh, it'll be all right. It's just going to grow bigger. It's just going to make you feel worse. And I know that's not what you want. So, Pam is right. Communication is definitely important. So, when it comes to your communication, listen, have those conversations. Ask those questions, single ladies and men. Ask those questions. You need to know. I remember when my husband and I, when we first met, my husband asked me questions. I asked him questions. And what I loved about my husband was that he was serious minded. He ain't got time to play no games. Neither did I. But it was refreshing to me to know that he had been thinking about the questions he needed to ask me. So if you ever want to know why I always drive home for you to ask questions, my husband inspired all of this, as well as the passion that I have to see you in love, in a healthy relationship, in a healthy marriage, for you to feel like that person gets you and you get them, for you to know that you are compatible, and not only that, that there is chemistry, that you are really attracted to that person, that you can actually see a future with that person, where you actually feel like they get you and you get them, where you can actually agree to disagree, and everything is going to be all right because you are able to have those conversations. You are able to effectively communicate with each other, and you are able to effectively love each other. Love. Love each other. All right, let me look at the comments. So Pam said, I just told you my ex-husband, well, words without actions means less, no meaning when he said he misses me. Right. Okay. And then, oh yeah, definitely. The proof has definitely got to be in the pudding. Definitely. So I hope on this happy Valentine's Day that this encourages you, this inspires you to use some of the tools, the relationship tools that I have mentioned here today. And I just hope that you are able to ask, what does love mean to you when you go out on dates? Maybe not on the first date, maybe not on the second date, maybe on the third date. You might want to ask that question, right? Because within the first 30 days, you should know there is some type of level of compatibility. When you are in a relationship, is the relationship going in the direction that you want it to go? Are you having challenges? Are you going through certain things, right? Are you able to work through things? Do you really feel loved in your relationship? Or is there something that the person can do in order for you to feel love? But I gotta say this, is that the person that you are dating in a relationship or even married to, they cannot love you in the sense of, how can I say this? I'm gonna take my time. You have to love you first. And that person cannot make up for the love that you are supposed to be loving yourself. That person can love you, but if your love tank is very low, no judgment here. If your love tank is very low and you're not loving yourself and you're expecting the other person to love you when you're supposed to be loving yourself, honey, it's time for you to start loving you. Wherever you are, dating, relationship, or in marriage. And when that person loves you with the love of God, it's going to make the love that you have for each other even sweeter. I tell you what, like, love just gets better and better when you love yourself, when you love God, and when you have that special someone that loves you. Love gets sweeter and sweeter each and every day. It's a process. It takes time. And that's all right. I'm Erica, Coach Honey Love. It's been a pleasure being here with you today. If you would, please like, share, share, share. And I'll see you next time. Take care.